Good evening and welcome to Have I Got News For You. I'm Greg Dyke, and when I was Director General of the BBC, my motto was cut the crap. But looking around tonight, I have to say maybe I didn't entirely succeed. In the news this week, in London, Prince Philip is quick to react to the football commentary gaffe by Ron Atkinson. In Birmingham, Alistair Campbell's new one-man show is still packing them in. And following the Today programme party, John Humphreys accuses Jim Naughtie of spiking his drink.
He's still going.
And Ian Hislop's team tonight is a writer and comedian who regularly used his newspaper column to undermine Alistair Campbell, which I reckon must be worth at least 1 point to start with. Please welcome Armando Iannucci. And with Paul Merton is a man who grew up in London, like I did, who left the BBC after a row, like I did, and who has since been re-employed by the corporation. So if you're watching Michael Grade, please note. Welcome to Danny Baker.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you.
Here we go with round one. Ian and Armando, what's going on here?
That's the Union Jack.
Oh, that's all the copies of the Daily Express sold today.
We're going to have a referendum on the European Constitution. Like most of New Labour things, it's because Tony forgot the word not. He said, I'm not going to introduce top-up fees. Oh, yes, I am. We're not going to have a European referendum. Oh, we are. So we're going to have one now, largely because Murdoch told him to. That's democracy, one man, one vote.
For the last 4 years, he's been going, no, we're not having a referendum. No, 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 yes. Does that mean that every time he said no in the past, that was a lie?
A good week for Blair or not?
Well, he's just accused him of lying, Greg. I think you should check up on that.
I don't do things like that.
You never did.
I mean, thank you, Danny. How do you think the news of the referendum has been covered over here?
In the build-up to the referendum, there'll be lots of scare stories about, you know, the bureaucrats in Brussels will say we'll have to have wooden toothpaste and 3.2 buttocks and all this stuff.
Well, no one really knows what the Constitution is yet, so we'll be voting on something that doesn't really exist.
Yes.
Couldn't we vote to be in Brazil because the weather's so much nicer there? Will there be a box that you can tick Brazil?
I'm sure.
So you're saying there will be a box that you can tick?
I'll do my best for you.
Okay, fine, that's good enough for me.
And let's just have a look about how the BBC announced the news of the U-turn.
Tony Blair accepts some short-term embarrassment in the hope that next year it allows him checkmate.
Oh.
Very clever. Except, of course, that this is politics, not chess, and there aren't really any rules at all.
It's the sort of dumbing down that wouldn't have happened in
No,
your
it
day.
wouldn't have happened. They always told the people in news, you can be in news or you can be funny, but you can't be both.
No,
now,
I think they've proved that's not true.
now, what do you think happens if Tony loses the referendum?
We're going to keep voting until he gets the decision he wants.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of theories that he's going to resign if he doesn't go through.
Or he could threaten to resign, hoping the resignation wouldn't be accepted, and then it might be. I mean, that wouldn't be a very good strategy, though, would it?
Oh, below the belt.
Yeah, to be honest, you can't see this as a promotion, though, can you?
This wasn't some kind of secret plan, though, Greg, was it? Because you was in charge when Angus was fired from here, and a year later, here you are. 5 years' time, and a host tonight, Mr. Tony Blair. Tony!
Well, it does seem that some of Tony Blair's cabinet are already contemplating the future. Take a look at this.
Increased it by over 50,000 over the last 3 or 4 years.
Harriet Harman.
Since Gordon Brown became Prime Minister,
They're all applauding, I know.
What else embarrassed Tony Blair this week? Anything?
The Express is going to support the Tory party, as is all of Desmond's other titles. I believe there's a very stringent editorial in Asian Babes this week.
I know mature boobs throwing its weight behind her.
I mean, Desmond is furious because he gave money to the Labour Party, and then they turned around and didn't do what he wanted. Does that ring any bells, Greg?
Well, it's just part of life. These things happen, don't they? Anything else that embarrassed Tony Blair this week? I mean... That's just to move it away from me, I think we might.
No, I see it coming back.
Oh, well, yeah, the Archbishop of Canterbury, of course. Rowan turned around and said, you didn't know what you claimed to know before the nation, took us into war on a load of lies. That was pretty bad for him, wasn't it?
He was criticised not only by, you know, one of the country's leading pornographers, but by an archbishop.
This is Tony Blair's decision to change his mind and hold a referendum. Chris Bryant MP, chairman of the Labour Movement for Europe, said, I have never believed a referendum is necessary to sign up to a treaty. Not that interesting, but it does give us another chance to see Chris Bryant in his underpants.
Has he got a zoom on that?
Paul and Danny, what's all this about?
The Goldman Sachs secretary, isn't it? Who stole loads of stuff. She bought a villa in Cyprus, she bought sports cars, she bought a yacht, and there she is being taken away now, in a van.
Luxury van.
Do those pictures ever come out, do you think? And she bought a Cartier watch for £300,000. I mean, do you get a better quality of time with a watch like that?
She was so envious and sickened by the largesse of the people she worked for in the city that she thought she'd have a slice of it herself.
Yeah.
She came unstuck when she bought the speedboat, of course, or yacht, because they saw it parked in the company car park outside.
Well, one of the jury resigned from the case. She said, you know, after a day, she said, I hate her employers so much because they're so rich. You've got to excuse me from jury duty because I'm going to find her innocent just because I hate them.
And I know the judge said that she was caught by the two treacherous qualities of greed and stupidity. Of course, within the city mile, two qualities that are unknown in the boardrooms around here. Although I think she had, after the speedboat, she did have an offering on the Docklands Light Railway, so she was getting carried away. She was going nuts anyway. But I think she was something of a folk hero, and, you know...
Yeah, and her employers afterwards saying, you know, this woman was incredibly greedy and amoral. You think, you work for Goldman Sachs!
Why would you buy a £300,000 watch? You could buy Burnley for that.
And get change.
Yeah, and get change as well.
Yes.
Maybe it's got a button that sends time back 15 seconds and she'd hope that she'd never get caught. There'd be a knock at the door, she'd come to arrest you, bip, get out the back window. She's not there.
It'll be good in prison, though. She can sort of watch those hours going.
What did her boss call her during the trial, do you know?
The plaintiff?
No, he called her the Picasso of con artists.
Oh, really?
Now, when you think all she was doing was taking money out of his account and putting it into her account.
Yeah. Well, maybe she had plastic surgery and she had a nose on the side of her face. So that's what it was.
I know. You know what her previous job was?
Was she Director General of the BBC?
What did she do?
She ran a sandwich bar.
Did she?
Yeah, she ran a sandwich bar, but they're still looking for £400,000 worth of Hellman's mayonnaise.
She's a big girl. They haven't shown her, have they?
No, there was one shot of her just walking towards Cole every day. Yeah, and the other shot of her driving away in her speedboat towards Brazil, saying, "Better luck next time." Yeah.
The line I liked was her husband, who, when asked, you know, why didn't he notice that she suddenly had £4.5 million, said that he never looked in her wardrobe and he never looked in her handbag.
Did he not spot it when he said to her, what's the time? And she went glint, glint, glint.
This is Secretary Jotty DeLorry, who stole £4.5 million from her bosses at Goldman Sachs. Now, Jotty spent the money on speedboats, houses, jewellery and holidays. But oddly enough, not liposuction. Such bad taste. Such bad taste.
All at Goldman Sachs all look like David Beckham, I suppose.
Everyone tiptoeing around saying she's a big girl, and then Greg goes for the liposuction. Cut the crap straight in.
There's general astonishment that it took Goldman Sachs senior director Scott Mead so long to notice that £3 million had gone from his account. Well, you can't expect a man in his position to be on top of all the details, can you? No. Round two is a buzzer round. Identify a story from a picture clue. Fingers on buzzers, please. Here we go. Yes?
Oh, yeah. Shell.
Shell. Yes? What about Shell?
It's an oil company.
Yes?
They've lost their oil,
Yeah.
haven't they?
Can we see the whole thing? Is that it?
Oh, it is.
The noise I like. And that's the noise of all the oil just disappearing. They haven't got any. For years they said, we're a very big oil company that sell oil. And then someone said, can we have some? And they went, oh no, we haven't got any. There isn't any.
Now, if you'd come yesterday, we had loads. We're not going to get any more now till Friday, you see.
So how much did it cost Shell to own up to this, no? Do you know that? I think the answer is £8 billion.
Is it?
£8 billion.
That previous secretary didn't work, they had a PA, didn't she? Maybe that's what she's full of. They could tap her and she's got all the Shell oil inside.
And what was their advertising slogan for all those years?
You can be sure of Shell.
That's it.
I thought of a new slogan for them.
Yeah.
Put a tiger in your tank, we haven't got any oil.
Shell still claims to have billions of pounds worth of fuel reserves, but only if you count all the unsold bags of charcoal briquettes. One Shell executive, on seeing an internal report, sent an email saying, "This is absolute dynamite, not at all what I expected and needs to be destroyed." Funny, that's exactly what I said when I saw the Hutton report. Because the difference between the two was that the Shell report was true.
Out on the streets! Come on, everybody, out on the streets! Yeah, out on the streets again!
I didn't see you out there, Danny.
No, you didn't see me out there. No, I don't regard you as some kind of imam. That's why, Greg.
Isn't she married to David Bowie?
Yeah, I know.
You married to David Bowie? You've gone right up in my estimation. What's he like? What's he like at home?
I said, we'll move on, shall we?
Not denying it. No.
Next picture.
Well, it's just Fred Scales who's been fronting for Tesco's, and it's plainly worked, because whereas other high street chains at the moment are finding it very, very difficult, like Marks and Spencer's, Tesco's are top of the heap.
You know, £1 out of every 8 is it spent in this country is spent in Tesco's.
The reward card system is the big thing, apparently. But I must say, I'm never that secure in my masculinity to get out my reward card. I can't.
You actually have a reward card?
Do you know I have one? I always pretend I can't find it.
You filled out a form, did you?
I did look for it. My wife must say, I'm passing the bucket, filled out the form. But when I get there and they say, have you a reward card? I look behind me, and if there's... no, I don't. If there's no one behind me, I say, you'll find there's about 50 points on that. But I'm a Sainsbury man anyway.
What worries you about it? I mean, if they made one that looks like a sandwich, would you?
Exactly. If they made one look like a bottle of beer, I say, have a beer, my friend. But I can't. No, I just...
Loyalty beer.
They just kept the crate of beer under. It said, thanks for shopping here.
Yeah, there's a bottle of
That ad we've put out of scale from Jane Horrocks, of course, is now considered the most successful celebrity ad of all time.
Oh, I beg to differ. I beg to differ.
What was your ad?
What do you mean, what? You know exactly what it was.
Was that something to do with Daz?
It was Daz adverts, I did, yes, and I gave the gig to Shane Ritchie afterwards, and look what happened to him.
Is Daz doing all right?
Everyone remembers the ad, don't they?
£7 and 8 go to Daz.
Okay, Amanda, you've been involved in the ad business, haven't you?
I just press this and you speak. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I thought you did an ad for pot noodles.
Oh, 5 years ago, yeah. I directed an ad for pot noodles, yeah.
Successful, was it?
Yes, they had to build a new factory. Which I considered a bit of an achievement.
Is that true?
Yeah. Because the public went to the other one and burned it down.
They didn't burn it down, they just poured hot water.
Oh, you've done ads as well, haven't you?
Yeah, have you?
No.
But what are you talking about it for, then?
Is this that odd one out round, then?
It's me, isn't it?
They've all done ads. I just read them these days, looking for another gig. That would be that one, wouldn't it? No, Ian, you've not done it.
Ian's
I have. Have you? South African nuclear tobacco, I did.
Did it work?
Yeah, fantastic.
The only fag that lights itself in the dark.
This year has seen Tesco announce record profits. According to the Telegraph, Tesco's largest store has a retail space of 125,000 square feet and is in Newcastle upon Tyne. That's a lot of brown sauce and beans.
Is that the regional remit covered then?
Yeah. I think that's the Northeast written off. Next picture.
There was a thing about if kids wanted to stay on at school, they'd get 30 quid a week.
That's it.
Well done.
Yes.
What's the idea behind that, then? Apart from them, is that motivation to stay on at school, get paid 30 quid?
So that they can then go to university and be part of the statistics. That 50% of the country can go to university and come out again.
In an ideal system, they'd come out again, wouldn't they?
It's called Earn As You Learn, the scheme.
Oh, right.
As opposed to what it was in my day, which was, you know, the stick if you're thick.
Did you stay on?
Well, I knew what I wanted to do, but it didn't seem a way of doing it at that time, so I thought I'd stay on at school.
No.
What did you want to do?
I wanted to be a captain on a topical quiz show. Well, I said this to the quiz teacher, and he wasn't interested.
Well, if any kids are watching, £30 should cover you for a packet of fags and a couple of box of crack. Next picture.
Box of crack.
Box of crack.
Is this Ofcom?
This is Ofcom.
Ofcom, the new regulatory body for television. has criticised the BBC for the low standard of programmes over the last 3 or 4 years.
That's bollocks for a start.
Well, it says his serious programme are less popular than they used to be.
There was Celebrity Pet School last year.
There was, actually, that's right. Yeah.
Britain's Worst Toilet, that was on. There is a rumour that some TV executives play a game, which is they pick random words out of a hat and put them together to come up with a programme title, and then commission it.
Monkeys drive buses. Fantastic. Tune in and watch that, wouldn't you? Monkeys driving buses.
Yeah.
The monkey takes on the 93 route from North Cheam to Putney. How far will it get?
One of them.
Do you want to produce it?
And of course, they're also telling the BBC to stop chasing ratings. Good idea, Danny?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my shows have never troubled the ratings at the BBC. I think that's going the way forward. I think that's vulgar to do that. What, those successful shows? But, oh, no, don't do that. No.
I think this show's pretty successful, isn't it?
It used to be.
Up till now, yeah. Well, you're very good at the behind-the-scenes television side, really, aren't you?
Well, that's my background, yes.
Yeah.
It's yours as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, of course so.
Yeah. Rapidly demonstrating.
One of Ofcom's suggestions is that part of the licence fee could be made available to broadcasters other than the BBC, leading one critic of this move to comment, opponents could destroy the BBC by top-slicing the licence fee. Why not? They've already done it to the management. After Ofcom warned the BBC about falling standards and derivative formats, the BBC head of entertainment unveiled a revamp of Come Dancing, featuring celebrities. What could be better than inviting the nation to enjoy the thrills and spills of ballroom dancing? Impacted wisdom teeth, shingles...
Monkeys driving buses.
Which means, at the end of this round, Ian and Armando have got 4, but Paul and Danny are in the lead with 6.
Oh, because of that initiative.
Absolutely. You can run up until you've got a good programme out there.
That's hilarious.
The odd one out round is next. Ian and Armando, John Major's cabinet, Alistair Campbell, William the Conqueror, and a pair.
I was just wondering why Alistair Campbell is having all the air sucked from his body.
Is it to do with the name William? Poir William? William the Conqueror? No. William Waldegrave in the cabinet? Alistair William Campbell?
That's not true.
No, it's not to do with that.
No, I didn't think it was.
No.
It's to do with bastards, isn't it?
Explain a bit more.
Well, John Major famously said off-air that a number of members of his cabinet were bastards. William the Conqueror, was he the bastard son?
Yeah.
And most pears are bastards. Because you buy them and you think they're going to ripen and they never do.
Bastards is right, but your odd one out is wrong so far.
Campbell's the other one out.
Why is Alistair Campbell the odd one?
Because you called him a bastard.
The answer is they've all been called bastards, apart from Alistair Campbell, who during the dodgy dossier inquiry was referred to as the C word.
Campbell.
Yeah. That's right.
Someone threw eggs at him this week. Students are always throwing dairy products at British politicians. Flour and wheat. Why don't they all come together and just throw a big cake?
And how did Campbell describe the Westminster press this week? Very homoerotic.
Oh. What?
He said, I think some of it is about blokes who, well, there's a lot of jealousy. There you go.
But he is turning into that bloke from Little Britain who fancies the Prime Minister.
And who were the 3 cabinet ministers? Who were described as bastards by John Major?
Was one, wasn't he? Portillo was one.
Lily?
Lily, yeah, and...
John Redwood.
Redwood, the Three
yes.
Skeptics, yeah.
Who else was caught up this week by a microphone that he thought wasn't turned on?
Ron Atkinson, of course.
Yes.
At the end of a Chelsea game, when he thought it was all done and dusted, he was still broadcasting to the Middle East. Al Jazeera thought it was our reply, of course, to the Bin Laden tapes, and they thought, well...
Are the Osama Bin Laden tapes? Are they just things that he said off mic while he was
Yes,
commentating
well,
on it?
I know the
Kabul football match.
DVD of Osama's got 3 previously unreleased denunciations. But,
That's a special chapter on goalkeeping errors.
but if anyone's ever listened to Ron Atkinson commentate in the last 15 years, I always presumed he didn't know the mic was on anyway.
Of course, and the pair is the bloody bastard pair.
What?
The pair is...
Have you been listening to a word we've been saying?
No,
He's got that woman's watch on.
I want to come back to the pair.
You're not texting messages to David, are you?
No,
Are we
no.
talking? You're not being heroes just for one
come
day.
back to the pair. It's called the bloody bastard pair.
Is it?
Yes. There's also a plum, you know, called the shit smock.
The what?
the shit smock plum.
Shit smock plum? I wouldn't send Ron Atkinson to get them.
You got that right. They've all been called bastards, apart from Alistair Campbell, who during the dodgy dossier inquiry was referred to as the C word, not to mention the T word, the F word and the W word. And that was just in my office. On the subject of media communications, Alistair Campbell said this week, "I think a lot of this thing with the Westminster press is very homoerotic," which puts a slightly different complexion on what he said he wanted to do in his diary. John Major didn't realise the microphone was still on when he said that 3 of his cabinet colleagues were bastards. Luckily, they had switched the microphone off before he added, "Enough about them, I'm off to shagged wiener." Paul and Danny, your 4 are George Bush Sr., John Lennon, Robin Hood and Brian Clough.
Underachieving sons.
Yes.
No.
Went into his dad's business.
Went into his dad's business, exactly. And Brian Clough went into his dad's business, and as a manager was a bit of a washout.
Nigel Clough, manager of Burton Albion.
Trevor Hood. Trevor Hood.
Trevor Hood, he was
hopeless.
Yeah.
Trevor Hood.
Rob from the poor gave to the rich, got it completely wrong.
It could have included Saddam Hussein until last year.
Oh, yes, they've all been leader of Iraq.
I think you're struggling here a bit, aren't you? Right, they've all had airports named after them, except Brian Clough.
So he had a duty-free named after him?
He was one of the possible names for the rebranded East Midlands Airport, along with Gary Lineker. More interestingly is, why is Robin Hood an appropriate name for the Doncaster Sheffield Airport?
In case the answer's written somewhere.
I know. Research suggests Robin Hood's birthplace may have been Loxley in Sheffield, and it is now thought that most of his robbing from the rich and giving to the poor took place not in Sherwood Forest, but in Barnsley.
There's no rich people in Barnsley.
That's
because Robin Hood nicked all the money.
You're quite right. The last rich person in Barnsley was Michael Parkinson. He moved to Ascot.
Yeah. If anyone wants to burgle him, you know where he is.
He likes a good time.
The answer is they've all had airports named after them, except for Brian Clough. The motto for Liverpool John Lennon Airport comes from the song Imagine and is above us only sky. Coincidentally, the Liverpool baggage handler's motto comes from the same song, Imagine no possessions.
Have you done the Mordecai Vanunu thing with Greg?
I've done nothing else.
Exactly the same. He looks exactly like Mordecai Vanunu.
I did see him coming out of prison. He didn't look like the bloke who went in, did he?
He didn't look. He looked like you when he came out.
That's his reward for 18 years in jail for whistleblowing. You look like Greg Dyke.
Even under the witness protection programme, they gave him plastic surgery. All there was a photo of you. He walked out this week, said, "I'm going to start a new life in London." Where I'm the Director General of the BBC.
Missing Words is the final round, featuring this week's guest publication, British Origami Magazine. So here goes with Jordan calls off what?
Helicopter search for lost breast.
Is it attempt to stand up?
Is it Middle East peace?
Yeah.
Have we gone up market, Greg?
And the actual answer is Jordan calls off talks with Bush. Is it? Next, what? The Chinese, says Duke.
Reheat. Hide from. Bomb.
Bomb. I think it's a bit longer than bomb.
Bomb, 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 bomb.
Yes. Forge close links with. Next, ghost patients are what?
Impossible to X-ray. You just get a brick wall. Next, oh, he's here.
Too late.
Too late, yes.
Are costing the NHS £100 million a year. Next, try what before you croak?
Smiling for the French paparazzi.
That sound was brought to you by Mr. Danny Baker. Go on, tell
The
us.
answer is try a voice lift before you croak.
Oh, yes, a new vocal cords operation. You make yourself sound younger.
Yeah. The operations don't always work, though. According to the Daily Mail, in 1997, Julie Andrews had an operation that left her unable to sing. So where the Nazis failed, the surgeons succeeded. And finally, try making Giles Towning's what?
Origami Tower of Babel.
Oh, don't be so ridiculous. He's wrong, isn't he, Greg? Tell him he's wrong.
Yeah,
Bed in the morning. Don't boil unnecessarily. Paper spectacular.
Origami binoculars. You can follow this simple design for a pair of opera glasses.
Oh.
21 easy steps. Alternatively, you just buy a couple of bog rolls and glue them together. That brings us to the end of tonight's contest, and the final scores are as follows. Ian and Armando have 6, Paul and Danny have 8. And I'll leave you with news that, during a break in recording, the Coffee Time crossword proves too much for Davina McCall. There's an awkward moment as a text message from Rebecca Luce goes astray. And at a Miami clinic, a Florida man is warned he may be anorexic. Good night.